All right, hello everyone, this is Mr. Wallace again with another review. This is our Algebra 1, Unit 1 packet. This is on page 10. This is Lesson 3 practice number 2. On page 10 we're going to do letters A through F. We are doing 6 problems real fast. Feel free to pause if you need or rewatch the video as much as necessary. Let's read the instructions, see what we're going to be doing. We are solving the following equations and inequalities for x. Show all your work. All right, we are just solving. Here we go. Even if we have what looks like these, actually A through F, if you're following along in your packet, there are no inequalities. Inequalities is when we have a less than sign or a greater than sign. So A through F is just regular equations because they are all equal. All right, so here we go. Letter A, I'm solving for x here. Now, there's a couple things going on. I have a 2/5 x, and so this is really, numerators can be combined because, you know, when you multiply fractions, the numerators just multiply across. This can be the same thing as 2x over 5. I want you guys to see that. That x can be paired with the 2x over 5 equals -4. For me, I always liked it because it was kind of more clear of what I should be doing. Right? I want to get that x by itself. Very first thing I need to do is get rid of that dividing by 5. I want to get rid of the fraction. Any fraction that I get rid of can be done by multiplication. Multiply by whatever's on the bottom. So if I multiply by 5, those 5s, boom, they're gone, just like that, right? This does not become 10x if I multiply. If I multiply by 5, it gets rid of the 5 in the denominator. That becomes just 2x. If I multiply by 5 on that side, I got to multiply by 5 on this side. -4 times 5 is -20. See how that fraction is gone now? Very last step. Now I divide by the 2 because that's being multiplied. I have to divide to get rid of it. Divide both sides by 2. X equals -20 divided by 2 is -10. There we go. All right, letter B. If you have a fraction and then outside is a plus or a minus, I always like to put parentheses in it because then I'm like, okay, what do I first need to do? I need to first get rid of anything that's being added or subtracted outside the parentheses. So if I have an x divided by 2 and then there's a -1 right here, shoot, I got to get rid of that 1, right? -1 plus 1, those cancel out, boom. Okay. Don't be confused here. We're still doing the same thing. This is just coincidence. I'm going to have a +1 on that side. Let's rewrite my equation. X over 2 equals, what's -1 plus 1? Well, that's just 0. Technically, they cancel out, right? They canceled out over here. It's 0. That just went away. But if we just have 0 on the other side of the equation, well, we have to put 0 right here. Don't just put blank, right? In this case, -1 plus 1 is 0. Algebraically, to get rid of that fraction, we have to multiply again. So that's x divided by 2. Well, how do we get rid of a divided by 2? We multiply. All right, cancel out, cancel out. Well, anything times 0 is always 0. And you could have taken a look at this and be like, well, to get 0, x has to be equal to 0. 0 times 2, 0 times anything is always 0. All right, this is one of the most foundational equations right here in algebra. We have parentheses, so I know we're going to use our distributive property to simplify. Distributive property is always multiplication. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 7 is +14. I'm going to put equals 6. That did not change. The parentheses are gone. Well, now it becomes a 2-step equation, right? I want to solve for x. I got to get rid of any adding or subtracting to the side of it. So if that's a +14, I need to subtract a 14. Boom. Subtract a 14 on both sides. Rewrite my equation every time. 2x equals 6 minus 14. You can plug that into a calculator. That's going to be -8. Now I have 2x equals -8. Finally, to get that x by itself, if there's a 2 attached to it, I have to divide by 2. Divide by 2. Final answer is x equals negative 8 divided by 2. Well, we have a negative and a positive, so it's going to be a negative 4. All right, 3 more. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on here. Now, put parentheses around it. Is there any adding or subtracting outside of that parenthesis on that side of the equation? No. So I can immediately go into multiplying both sides by whatever's on the bottom. Negative 2 and negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 cancels out. 8, I have to multiply a negative 2 over here, right, because it's following the rules of algebra. And so let's re-simplify. If that fraction is gone now because I multiplied both sides by negative 2, all I have is x minus 5. I have what's left from the numerator. X minus 5. 8 times negative 2 is going to be negative 16 because we have a positive and a negative, so it's a negative number. Very last step to get that x all by itself. I'm just adding 5 to both sides. Final answer is x, because that x is all by itself now, equals, you can think of this in your head or use a calculator. If ever you're in doubt, I just recommend using a calculator, because if you're doing all these steps right, but make a mental error in your head, that it's going to be wrong. So you can do it in your head. You can use a calculator to double check if you want. Negative 16 plus 5 is negative 11. There we go. All right, 2 more. Here we go. All right, this is similar to letter C. I'm going to distribute that negative 6 to get rid of my parenthesis there. Negative 6 times x is just negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 1, careful, is positive 6, because 2 negatives make a positive. That 18, nothing changed with the 18, because all we did was simplify the parentheses on the left side of the equation. There are no like terms between these two, so we can immediately go into solving. 2-step equation. There's my x. Is there a plus or minus outside that term that I have to get rid of? I have to get rid of that positive 6. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Those cancel out. Subtract 6 from both sides. Drop down that negative 6x. Here we go. We're just simplifying. Rewrite the equation. I say that all the time. 18 minus 6 is positive 12. Now that I have negative 6x by itself, I can divide by negative 6 on both sides. Those cancel out. My final answer is x equals 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2. There we go. All right, last one, letter F. Okay, put a parenthesis around your fraction if it helps always. Is there something that's being added or subtracted outside of that fraction, outside of that parenthesis? Yeah, a positive 11. That's my very first step. I got to get rid of that positive 11 first. All right, those cancel out. That's the point. Rewrite my equation, x over 9. See how the fraction is now all by itself. There's not a plus 11 by it. 4 minus 11, think about that, is negative 7. And because I have a fraction here, x is being divided by 9, so I have to multiply by 9 on both sides. Cancel out, my fraction's gone. All right, think of fractions as dividing. We used multiplication to get rid of it. So x equals, if I multiplied by 9 here, I have to multiply by a 9 here. Negative 7 times 9 is negative 63. There we go. That was lesson 3, number 2, letters A through F.